In Alamance County, speaking with Sheriff Johnson, which at 30 to 40% of the sheriff's budget in Alamance County going toward investigating and prosecuting illegal alien crime. Every time you have a case like that, it pulls your officers away from their normal duties and responsibilities of protecting the legal citizenry here.
Absolutely, and that's been one of my biggest, I won't say gripes, but that's been one of my biggest pet peeves in this situation. You know, when we're answering 30 to 40% of calls to criminal illegal immigrants as residents and stuff, and it may be 30, 40 minutes before we can get to somebody else that's needing help, that is born here, that is paying taxes here, that we're supposed to look after. It bothers me a little bit.
Yes, sir. There are people in the political venue that try to turn this into a partisan issue, a Republican issue or a Democratic issue. Would you agree that this has nothing to do with politics, that it has to do with protecting our
Let me tell you something. Not a single thing that we've talked about today has to do with politics. Do what's right. My father, my forefather, fought for me to have what I have today. Fought for me to have the right to vote in an election. Fought for the right for my kids to grow up in the community and be proud to be an American. And I don't have a problem paying my fair share of the taxes for the services I receive. Everyone else should have to do the same thing. Now, I understand why a lot of people want to come from far countries to America. It's the greatest country in the world. There's no doubt about that. But if you're going to come here, legally or illegally come here, when you get here, follow the laws of the land or stand accountable for your actions. And that's what the 287G program does.
Yes, sir. You mentioned something earlier that I find a little humor in, or a little irony, and that is that since your participation began, you're seeing a outsourcing of your illegal population because they're aware that if they get caught for anything in Alamance County and they're here illegally, they're on their way home.
That's correct. We're seeing people moving out of Alamance County, and I hate that because, and I say I hate that, if they're here and following the laws, I don't have a problem with them being here. But if they're criminals, yeah, they need to get out of Alamance County because if they come through the doors here, we're gonna process them. And we're seeing some, they're moving out to some of the surrounding counties. I got a friend that runs a service station, Mr. Joe Tickle. Used to be Tickle's Fiddle C6, but he has changed names now. That I was up there one day and he come out laughing. He said, "Sheriff, you have making me some money." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "They are renting these Penske trucks and moving out of Alamance County by the dozens." And I said, "Well, I hate that, Joe. If they're good people, I don't have a problem with being here. But if they're criminals, they better move out because we're coming after them."
Yeah, on the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, which you're a member of, worked diligently, from what I understand, with the North Carolina legislature to draft legislation to address these issues. Senate Bill 229 requires, if the governor signs it, which I expect him to, January 1, 2008, that if you're arrested in North Carolina for a driving while impaired offense or for any felony, that you're automatically required to process that individual to check their legal status through the ICE system. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, although the state law does not mandate participation in 287G, my understanding to meet the federal requirements, the only way that you're going to be able to do that is to participate in 287G. Is that?
Well, my understanding, if everything passes, I think that is correct. I think that is correct.
So what I found to be a little irony is that if all 100 counties in North Carolina are participating in 287G, First in Flight will take a whole new meaning on.
I guess so.
Is there anything that you feel would be important for both our state legislature and Congress to know that would help improve this program? You did mention something about training shortfalls.
Yes, sir. The federal government, there's no way with the current number of Immigration Customs Enforcement agents that they have, that they can do and help with the immigration problem, with the massive amounts of immigrants we have here, or working with the local law enforcement to oversee the 287G program, or even to make a dent in the immigration problem here in America, and in North Carolina especially.
You made a comment that, at least here in North Carolina, it's been your experience that ICE has been over backwards to work with the sheriff's departments on this program and other issues associated with immigration and safety.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement has been over backwards to work with the Alamance County Sheriff's Office, and we've been over backwards to work with them. And it's a give and take situation. We're all in it for the common purpose, and that's what we're going to do here in Alamance County. That's what we're going to continue to do. And politically correct, politically incorrect, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're still going to do it.
It's still correct at the end of the day, and
I can sleep at night.
Yes, sir. So 287G saves lives in Alamance County. You agree with that?
Long done, sure.
Absolutely. Well, I hope you're a sheriff for a long time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'd like to thank you for all your hard work. I know the citizens of Alamance County are lucky to have you.
Well,
if there's any advice for other sheriffs in the state, because there are some that, even though they may have signed on or personally might be all for it, are receiving an extreme amount of pressure from either the city council or county commissioners or others in the community.
they need to go back to the day they were sworn in, when they put their hand on the Holy Bible and swore to the oath of sheriff that they took to uphold the laws of the state of North Carolina, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States. And if they will follow that, I think they will be on board with the 287G program.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Sheriff.